welcome back. I know I did a video yesterday, but I felt the need to kind of do this because it was in my head. So I was like, let me do it before I, change my mind. But of course, we always, from now on, we always have to say something about a fragrance. And I'm going to talk about the fragrance that I'm wearing today. And this fragrance is actually called Glossier You. And so this is how the bottle looks. It's supposed to be a personal skin enhancer. And I also, just to give it a little kick, I got the balm, the fragrance balm. I think that's what you call it, fragrance balm. But you rub your hands in here, put it here, da da da, yeah, da da da. And really, it's supposed to enhance your natural smell. So I naturally smell good, so of course it's gonna make me smell better. But no, this one I think it has black pepper, pink pepper, I mean, and sparkling ice or something like that, ambret seeds. I have to look here because I almost forgot iris. Yes. So I got pink pepper. Okay, great. I'm working on this part of it because I really know the notes, but just kind of, I just have a brain fart. And so, yeah, this is what I'm wearing today. It's a day where I kind of wanted to keep it simple. I'm not, honestly, I can't say I'm having a horrible day, but honestly, I just get sad a lot because especially now that I'm older, just seeing people, get older and your parents get older. I had one parent who passed away a few years ago, and I just find myself, I'm at a point where everything makes me sad. I can go down the street and I could see like a lady walking and I'll get sad about that. I'll see cats on the street. I get sad about it. It's just, I don't know what is this emotional thing that's going on with me, but yeah. Anyways, what I wanted to do, of course, given the title, I wanted to kind of do like a story time, but not really. And the reason I say that is because once upon a time, I was journaling years ago. I actually kept doing it, and up until about, I think it was like 2016 to 2020, after I got out of my last relationship. And I was journaling, and then by the end of 2019, I started considering writing. I mean, making this all a book, everything that I've written. And they were pretty much my stories, like life stories. And then I have 20 years of theater experience, and I wanted to kind of tell those stories. And so, yeah, basically, I kind of wrote a book. And so what I want to do here is I want to read one of the chapters from the book. And this chapter is called Big Mama. And one thing about this is I haven't read this in years. Well, I did have a website up maybe a year or so ago, and I kind of just let it go because it wasn't doing anything. And so I posted it, but I didn't read it. I just kind of copied and pasted. I didn't sit down and read it because I wrote it a long time ago. And so what I want to do is read it here and kind of see. I'm not going to make any changes. I'm going to just read what's in here, and we'll see how this goes. But again, this chapter is called Big Mama, and I'll try to make it entertaining. I'll try, depending on what it said, and I'll try to explain some things as well as I go along instead of just reading it. It's not that long. Right here, I think it was just 4 pages. Okay, so in 2011, I was cast in Jubilee's popular Auntie Explains Christmas. Jubilee is a professional theater here in Fort Worth, Texas, Jubilee Theater. It was a unique experience compared to the other musicals I've been a part of in the past. The director was one of my favorite stage managers from some of my previous shows, but I've heard a lot of horror stories from the past about her from other actors. It never mattered because she was respectful to me, and I was respectful towards her. Things were going smooth. Oh my God, I just thought about it. I'm sorry. She's no longer with us. See, this part of aging is like you. Anyways, things were going smoothly until one rehearsal. the musical director blew up on the director in front of the whole cast. On one hand, I understand why he was frustrated. A lot of things were being planned musically without his knowledge when he already had a plan himself. On the other hand, there was tension between him and the director that was deeper and beyond the show that I had no idea about. None of us had an idea about. One night, I guess he had had enough and he cursed the director out. I know that I was shocked because I've never heard Jay, which is his name, even raise his voice. Jay is the musical director. That's not his real name. He was always an even keel guy that didn't want any trouble. He cursed her the F out. Okay, you know what? This is my channel. I say what I want. We'll say what I want. He cursed her the fuck out. And he stood there and gave her a look like, bitch, you better not say anything. Then he stormed out, and that was the last we saw of Jay in that theater again. Insert dead silence. There was like, I remember it. It was like complete and total silence. It was, you know how they say you could hear a rat pissing on cotton? It was that kind of silence because, first of all, nobody's ever heard Jay raise his voice. Ever. He was always very, like I said, even keel. He was always nice to everybody. He was a Virgo, so you know, they got an interesting side to him. So just to see that, it was very interesting. And then on top of it, the stage manager who was the director, the previous stage manager, well, she was the full-time stage manager, but she directed this show. She was always the one that was feisty. And it seemed like she was cool and calm during this part while he was screaming. So it was all very interesting. I think that's what led to it being so quiet. Like, what's going on is very awkward. Anyways, insert dead silence. The director watched him walk away and carried on as if she didn't give a damn that he left. The next day, we all received an email. And this is the email. Hey, everybody. This note is to let you all know that I have resigned from Auntie Explains Xmas from the Jubilee Theater. Effective immediately. I won't be there anymore. This is not easy for me to do because of you, the cast. You guys have all worked so hard and I believe the show will be excellent. I was very surprised and pleased at how quickly the music came together and how wonderful your voices sound together. Some of you have been close friends of mine for many years. And I regret any problems that may arise from my departure, but I had to go. I apologize for the ugliness last night in rehearsal. I certainly did not back a word I said. I certainly do not take back a word I said, but I'm sorry you had to be there in the middle of it. Most people find me an easygoing person, and I do music and theater for fun of it and the love of it. Yeah, because he the word on the streets was he had money. And the word from me is I saw 2 big houses. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying he rich. I'm just saying I saw him and his wife and his family. They had 2 houses. Nice houses. Certainly not for the money. Certainly not for money. People are sometimes surprised that I have a temper. In the interest of harmony and peaceful environment for creative arts, and because I hate confrontation, I will let people abuse me and push my buttons until I've had enough. At that point, unfortunately, I am sometimes beyond the point of being nice, and I let loose with anger. I have been a musician for 47 years, in theater for 29 years, and with Jubilee Theater for 23 years. So if you do your research, you can know who this is, but I ain't saying anything. I have composed over 35 musical plays, at least 20 of them for Jubilee. I was a musical director on about 120 Jubilee Theater productions, 64 of them musicals. Very few times in all my years have I treated and disrespected as I have. Have I been treated and disrespected as I have been in this one? So there must have been something going on, like, you know, when the cast didn't know, because I didn't see him be disrespected. So something must have been going on behind the scenes that I still don't know of. This all happened in the background. Some people prefer to stick knives in your back in the dark, while others, like me, just let it all explode in public. Ooh! I took this job to direct Auntie again because it's a great show and one of the founding person's best. In Auntie, he created a character that spoke his voice, his opinions, and attitudes. I always hear his voice coming out of Auntie's mouth. I took the job in spite of having to work with a person I believe is the meanest, most evil person I have ever known. That was a mistake on my part. I thought I could weather it and make it through rehearsals, but I underestimated just how mean and evil it would get. Sorry about that. It was a great pleasure working together. Rehearsals are always my favorite part of the process. Not mine. I wish you all the best in this production and everything else, and I hope to see you all and work together soon in a pleasant environment. Lots of love. Needless to say, side note, I never worked with Jay again. I don't think I worked with him again. If I did, I don't remember. I'll have to figure it out. I think this was the last time, but I don't know. Sincerely, Jay. So, yeah, that was the whole email that we received. So, we are all clueless about what's going to happen next. But no one was brave enough to ask questions. Next thing I remember is a lady named Monique, who has performed at the theater before. That's not her real name. She would be our new musical director. She gave me lesbian teeth. The truth hurts. Oh my God. She gave me lesbian tease. But at this point, I was still lost and locked in a dark closet myself. So who was I to judge? Oh, wow. Wow, 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 wow. She had a lot of personality, and it would be overwhelming at times, even for a dramatic person like me. Come to find out, they were flying her in from her home in Houston several times during that run, which is crazy because I'm sure there was a local talent who could do the job. Ooh, a waste of money. She was talented, but was she worth the travel money for a small theater? Oh, boy, you is a shady little closeted sissy. Oh, shady little sissy. Boy, anyways, hell no. I remember during one of our rehearsals, she was very attitudinal that day. And I recall her saying to a castmate that she was jet lagged. Bitch. Goodbye. Oh my God. Oh my God. I laughed so hard. It was an inner laugh though. Oh damn. It's all just coming back to me. That's why it's so funny. It's all coming back to me. I didn't think she liked me because she was very tough on me and sometimes short. I don't remember caring that much though. It was just a noticeable thing. I was singing off key a few times, and I think her harshness really helped. During the show run, I took it as tough love because I did great vocally. Of course, the Christmas shows do well, so the audiences were amazing. I was having a great time. At this point, my grandmother, Big Mama, has been suffering with Alzheimer's disease. As it seems to always happen, my mom and I, get a call in the middle of the night saying she lost the battle. I was living with my mom and I heard her voice from the other side of the house. I knocked on her door. She told me in such a nonchalant way that she had passed away. My mom processed things differently. She always kept heartbreak to herself. I hated that about her personality. I hate that about her personality because I like people to let me know how they feel. So she closed the door. I went back to my room and went to sleep after sitting in the dark for a few minutes. I didn't even cry. I couldn't. She passed away December 13th, 2011. So that would mean I would have to miss a show to go to her funeral. The funeral was on a Saturday, which was a 2-show day. I initially didn't tell the cast why I had to miss the show, but people were making jokes and comments because they had to learn my parts to execute on the show that I would have to miss. So I told them my beloved grandmother had passed away. Still no tears. The day of the funeral, we had 2 shows, one at 3 p.m. and the other at 8 p.m. My idea was to drive to Omaha, Texas for the funeral, which was 3 hours away, and drive back to Fort Worth right after so I could perform at the 8 p.m. show. I made it just in time to walk in the church with my family. I could feel my big brother falling apart, but he's always been the strong type, so he wasn't going to show it. I could sense it. My older sister was closest out of the siblings to Granny, so I didn't even want to look at her or my mother. The choir is singing. I see my brother breaking in my peripheral. I grab my black and gray scarf to wipe the one tear. It was in the moment I realized that I had to be the strong one. My brother and sister have their own strengths that I admire, but I would consider myself to be the more emotional one. I feel people's emotions and I figure ways that I can be there for them as emotional support. My mom was in the front row, my brother and I were in the third row. It was my mom's time. Now it was my mom's time to walk to the casket, and I could hear her wails from the seat. I've always hated to see and hear my mom cry because it rarely happens. I hate to see my sister cry. When those two cry, I can't take it. My uncle was talking to my mom like a typical hyper masculine. He was trying to be supportive in his own way. She needed someone to be there for her emotionally. She had lost her husband not too long ago. Uh, so I'm walking up towards the front because my sister and brother were grieving. I had to be the rock for my mom. I looked her in her eyes as she cried and screamed, and I said softly, "Mom, I will walk with you." She gives me her hand and we walk. I can't cry because my job is to be strong for my mom at this moment. I was so numb. I don't remember what it is I was feeling. I actually don't remember what it is I was feeling. My mom was a soldier, always been. So after the funeral, we go to the gravesite, which was right across from the house I grew up in. I had a few hours left before the next show. After a few minutes of talking to the family, I had to rush back to Fort Worth to do what it is I love. Oh, uh, oh my God. My oldest nephew rode with me. We didn't even talk. We didn't even talk. Uh, oh my God, I hate this. I hate it. We didn't even talk about the funeral or her death. It was just a normal 3-hour drive back. I make it to Fort Worth, getting calls about my whereabouts a few minutes before I make it to Dallas. It's as if nobody cared how I was feeling. The calls kept coming because the show was in 30 minutes. I make it with 15 minutes before the show. It's time to do what I love and forget about everything that's happened. What had happened? Still no tears. I had to take a break. Sorry. I had to take a break. Okay, so it's time to do what I love and forget about everything that happened. Still no tears. Just one at this point. The cast did what they could to make me feel better, and I didn't even need it because I felt great. I was performing. December 30th, 2011, it's closing day, the last performance of Auntie Explains Xmas. How did I feel about it? I didn't feel anything. I did enjoy the performance. I don't think we had a cast party this time because Jay was not the musical director. He's the one who hosted the parties, but he was gone. So we all had to go home and get ready for the next audition, I guess. My granny was still gone, the lady who noticed and nurtured my gift as a singer. She got to see me perform at Jubilee, though, before she passed away. I remember she dropped a small bag of M&Ms on the floor in the theater at the previous Christmas show I discussed earlier. I am proud she got to see me one last time. The day after closing day of the show, everything hit me like an 18-wheeler all at once. I woke up with a severe case of crying, weeping, screaming, and more crying. The death of my big mama came. I didn't leave my room for shit for a whole 2 weeks after Auntie closed. I called in from work. I barely ate, I barely slept, and I was over life. I didn't want to die, but I didn't care to live. Does that make sense? I used this gift that I love to cover up heartbreak. I used this gift I love to cover up the heartbreak of losing my grandmother. It was during those 2 weeks that I realized that as much as I love performing, I hate this shit at the same time. Yeah, so this was one chapter. It wasn't the first chapter, but it was one chapter of my book. After reading that, because I haven't read it in years, I think I should just go ahead with the book because I'm kind of reluctant. I have other stories. Maybe I'll read some more chapters here. Hopefully they're not as heavy as that. I don't think they're. Yeah, they are. They are. They are kind of heavy as that. That was maybe shouldn't have started with that one, but yeah. That was one of the chapters I wrote for the book that I, at one point I was passionate about. Well, not passionate. I kind of came up with the idea in like 2020, I think, and was like, oh, I should make this a book. And then, I was like, oh, nobody's reading, just coming up with excuses like I always do. And so now I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what I'm gonna do with it. But yep, that's chapter. I don't know, and that chapter is called Big Mama.